Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please excuse the hot mess happening right now. I have wanted to come back and make a video for a little bit, and things are just pretty crazy and hectic with trying to find the right time to sit down and film something like this where I'm talking to the camera with a now 10-month-old baby as of today. So yes, I'll just go ahead and jump right in. So one thing I wanted to talk about and I have had a lot of questions about is pregnancy and Crohn's disease, and basically how my experience was and has been. So I am planning to, just for the sake of not making this a 45-minute video, split this up into a couple different pieces to talk about my journey with Crohn's and pregnancy. So to start off, my husband and I have been married about a year and a half when we thought about trying to have a baby and start a family. It's just like a lot of people do. We started trying to get pregnant, and after about 6 months or so of trying to get pregnant and things weren't happening, thought, let's just check with the doctor to make sure that everything was okay. So I called the OB that I normally saw, and she said, hey, let's, everything looks good from, past history, but let's just go ahead and do some blood work just to make sure that everything was okay. And as a result of that, she said everything looks okay except for your thyroid. Your thyroid seems a little bit off. So she referred me to an endocrinologist, and I went to see her. And I think that's right about the time that my videos that I started doing about 2 years or so ago, right where those videos ended, was right when I was referred to see the endocrinologist. And when I went to go see her, she said that my thyroid was a little low, recommended putting me on a medication to make the thyroid levels, whichever they are, it's T4 and something else, but to make the levels be what they should be. She said it'll likely help with you feeling fatigued and things like that. She said a lot of people don't feel a whole lot of difference, but that it does help only for the positive, which was great. And obviously the endocrinologist knew that I had been referred to her by my OB, so she knew that I was there specifically with regard to trying to conceive. So we also talked a little bit about how important good thyroid levels were for potential baby's development while you're pregnant, that the thyroid being in check is very important to the baby's brain development and things like that. So wrapped up with the endocrinologist, she said, here's your medication, take this, come back and see me in a couple months. We'll check your levels again, see how things are doing, and sent me on my way. Little did I know that before I had actually gone to that appointment that I was already pregnant. I just didn't know it was too early to check. So that was really exciting, and that happened to be Father's Day weekend of 2017, which was really special for my husband and I to find out during that time. The journey to getting pregnant didn't really seem to be impacted that drastically by my Crohn's disease. Through the entire time trying to conceive, I continued a Remicade infusion treatment is what I take for Crohn's. I go to do that every 8 weeks, and basically what that is I go into, it's called an infusion center, and it's basically a room with a bunch of chairs and nurses and IVs, and basically sit in a room for usually 3 to 4 hours, just depending on how long it takes to get the IV started and if there are any issues and things like that, but usually 3 to 4 hours. I've talked a little bit about that in the past, but I'm certainly happy to talk about it again. But I continued on that treatment the entire time I was trying to conceive. It didn't, like I said, seem to negatively impact anything or the fact that I had Crohn's disease. For the most part, what I've heard and from my experience, Crohn's has not negatively impacted a woman's ability to conceive, except for the fact that it could impact something else that goes on with you. So thyroid levels, if a woman has this is just from my experience, and I'm not a medical professional, but just from my experience, thyroid being one of the things that my obstetrician checked for. When a thyroid level is off, it can impact a woman's ability to conceive. So that was one of the things that we wanted to get in check in order for me to not only be able to get pregnant, but to have a successful, healthy pregnancy and baby. So for me, with regard to getting pregnant, it didn't seem to really have an impact on me. Now, if I had maybe had more of a thyroid issue or some other issue that was related to the Crohn's disease, that could have negatively impacted me. It's very common. It seems like people who have a autoimmune disorder, which Crohn's disease is, it seems very common that they would end up developing another, which is where we think the thyroid disease technically is what I have, where that has come from. So luckily, it could always be worse, but luckily with regard to that, at least so far, the only negative impact that I've had is that I take a pill every day to help my thyroid function the way that it should. And truthfully, I'm really glad that I reached out to my OB and opened that conversation when I was first starting to get pregnant and first starting to get concerned about, okay, that's been, about 6 months or so, what's going on here? And if it hadn't been for that conversation, I'm not sure how much longer it would have taken or how much worse things could have gotten before we realized that there was an issue. So I'm really glad that I opened that door and had that conversation with my OB. So I think I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I'm already at like 8 minutes or so. So I'm gonna wrap this video up here and jump into a couple more videos where I talk kind of about my pregnancy journey and what that experience was like, and then ultimately what my experience was through labor and delivery and postpartum with regard to Crohn's disease specifically. And then I had kind of alluded to this in another video, but our little one, after she was born, did have some other complications. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.